Welcome to Fajabi Image Consultancy. Ahan bathagat chagiba video dugi makha taba oina ngasigi video asi thagat chabani. The name of the poem is 3 Years She Grew in Sun and Shower. Ahan bada sareng si padringa da khoina sareng sigi review da piramba khoi gi topics khangba yaba khoi gi topics sing do khoi naina gre ngasi di sareng asi parasi sareng asi paraga khoina sigi nainaba haibadi we'll talk about the critical appreciation that will be equivalent to substance writing or the writing theme or reference to context that you're going to do it in exam. So while doing so, I will be explaining the poem. I'll be explaining the sarengasi aina takani and try to appreciate it in the functional model also. Functional model haibasi sarengasi parakanda khoina sarengsi gi artha khata khangbaga loina na language asi kamaina tamgani haibidi how to improve language English kamaina improve tawgani haibidi so I sigi piriba sareng literature si hairaga I haizaramge ko. Let's start reading it. 3 years she grew in sun and shower. Then nature said, a lovelier flower on earth was never sown. This child I to myself will take. She shall be mine, and I will make a lady of my own. The narrator, the poet, says that it took 3 years for the child to grow. Like I have already explained that it is a Lucy poem, and the poet is talking about a girl called Lucy who was in earth for 3 years, and she has grown up in sun and shower. And while she was growing up, she was so beautiful. She was such a beautiful girl that the nature said, she's so beautiful for the earth. Now I cannot keep her on earth. Now I'll take her with myself. I'll take her along with me. I'll take care of her. And I will grow her to a lady of my own, lady of my choice. Like if I give the child to the earth, like she may not become a lady of my choice, but if I take care of her, if I take her with me, if I take her with me and I take care of the girl, she will be a lady of my choice. Haibadiko arthani ko aina hairibase arthani chigi magi sigi explanation do sang na haise chahi ahum mazimana Prithvi sida ko sangsar sida leirame aduga karigumba masi leiramba sida masi yam phazai. She's so beautiful. That's why see the poet is comparing the girl with a lovelier flower. Mayamdagi henthoiraba phazaraba flower amaga ma ka changdamne ko angang siga changdamne aduga sigumba yamna phazaba on earth was never sown. Sumuk phazaba angang se Prithvi da sigumba chara leitri chara haibadi miga chara ga something. It is the personification of that plant. Like it is the comparison personification hype the hierarchy. It's a comparison of with a beautiful flower. Prithvi da sigumba laitri haina mana hairamne ko aduna this child I to myself will take. I'll take care of her. Aina mahakpu aina guide tawgani, mahakpu aina nurture tawbigani, mahakpu aina phazana aigi inakta aigi isaigon haibra khoi mitalon da ko fazabo wata aduda thamgani. I will keep her with me and I will take care of her because she is too good for the earth. First tenja sigi aina kinos di lore ko explanation si ai taure aduga I'm trying to be fast because the I've got the suggestion that I take time, but again I'm failing because English is a slow language and I have to be slow. To do justice to the language, I have to be slow. Aduda sigi saireng just minor parakpa matamda artha dikhange ko language ki oiba features to functional features to ai haizaramge language ki oiba functional features to ai haizaramge ko sun and shower pronunciation tambe ai ko sun and shower ko sun and shower sh gi sound to makhang ko aduga then nature said the love the see antithesis in poems sida maning da poems gi maning da iriba se maning sida iriba words sing se khoina yengba matam da reviewer gi notes to yengba matam da koi antithesis device seasonai hai ko adu antithesis device ki example amana sun and shower nungsa amadi nong ko nong amadi kano numit hadi nungsa ga ani se antithesis opposite oiba forces ni dana opposite oiba makhal ani gi wahai wata sezinaraga phajaba amuk puthokpa ko aduni antithesis is actually introduced in your notes in this book. That is why it is important to know the antithesis. Aduna reference to context iragadi saireng se reference to context irakpa matamda antithesis se explain tobiramu. And as you have already done rhyme scheme hanagi aina analysis tawzakiba aina appreciation tawzakiba hanbagi saireng da su aina rhyme scheme se explain tawzakare. Rhyme scheme da yeng ko hai gi ko shar ga flower ga mane ko ending do cluster of that sound shower flower ani is mane na loy ko aduduna na loy baduna what any sound ni ko aina hai se see ani is na loy pani ani is rhyme tawre ko aduga son on earth was never son this child I to myself will take ka make ka rhyme scheme mama oire ko take ka make ka and son ga on ga. Again, before I continue with the next stanza, line to line paba ki darkar su oidi hai na khoina sairing sida hairami ko reviewers sing na so hairami ko adu orga su line to line hai panate first da ai meaning do hai gre adu matung da magi technical oiba aspect to ni ko aina hai ri base technical oiba aspect da aina hai gre ahan bata antithesis device is nei antithesis device ki example ama aina first stanza se da yengu natraga pu haina hairam taraga su question da hange khalase adu taragadi aina hai bi yai sun and shower. This is the example of antithesis device used by the writer. And what is the rhyme scheme in it? A, shower, flower, B, C, take and make, and B, songa, onga. Again, you may think why we should teach you rhyme scheme. Rhyme scheme, it's a mnemonic device or a memory device. If you want to remember this poem by heart, then these rhyme schemes, if a stanza has the rhyme scheme, it helps you mug up. So it can help you in speaking if you mug up a poem and you recite it loudly. Yam kanna khoina loudly if we recite the poem ko hairagati akhoi gi spoken skills speaking skills se khoi gi sisu improve tawba yai ko. Now I have explained the first stanza. I will explain it again. The child was there in earth for 3 years. The name of the child is Lucy. She was there for 3 years and she was growing in sun and shower. She has experienced the harshness of sun and also the beauty of shower. She has experienced it. Shower gi nungaiba phajabadu experience taure. So she is a beautiful flower. It's a lovelier flower by nature. Nature said it's so beautiful, and it is such kind of flower, such a beautiful flower has never shone on earth. Earth asuk yamna phajaba flower se lairamde. Aduna I will take this child. I will take care of the child so that she becomes a lady of my own choice. I know. I hope you understood the first stanza. Now let's go to the next stanza. Okay, I'll read out the next stanza. Myself will to my darling be both law and impulse, and with me the girl in rock and plain, in earth and heaven, in glad and bar, shall feel an overseeing power to kindle or restrain. Okay, now the poet was talking about the child, about Lucy in the first stanza. Suddenly he shifts his mood to himself. Now he's talking about himself. He's telling that, now I'll talk about myself. I know I lost Lucy, so I have to react. I will have an impulse. When I react, or when I feel that emotion of losing Lucy, I may act by in accordance to the law. I may act in accordance to the law, or I may be impulsive. if I go through the rock and plain, if I go around in rocks and plains, in earth and heaven, in glade and bar, again see, again it's a antithesis ngatani ko. If I go through all these places, I will be overpowered by the presence of Lucy. I may rekindle, I may kindle, I may get inspired by his presence, or I may be sad that I cannot see her anymore in those experiences, in those landscapes. But I know that she has seen all these places. Okay, now my talon the haigi ko habiti. Saying si magna hambada angang sige maram da hairame. He was speaking about the child. Now mana mahak na thok pa mahak tay aurak pa magi experience angang si mahak na mangi bagi experience to. Atugi experience to amok mahak na haire atuti. Haji ay isay tom dagi haijagi okay ay na angang si ay na kainare mahak laikidre. Ay kainarabani na ingon the emotions nungaiba nungaitabagi emotions amaleram gani mayam na again it's a Christian philosophy. Okay, you would have watched it in movies and all when somebody dies, in the English movies they wear very good dress, they come up, they don't cry like us. Koi gi maitai gi koi lauba khongba, we do that, we are impulsive, we are by nature koi di du tawe, we saw it, our grief koi gi nungai tabadu utle. But he's telling aduni ko hainingi bise moina ai noin khangam ni kai no lo adi lo na akhonta nungai taba yadi haiba leibra haiba nati ko chatnabi moigi chatnabi ko poet sigi chatnabi du gi matung inane mana haires moigi magi lam du gi chatnabi da mani yam phasana nungai taba du thamoi da thamaga mayam da civilized oiba mawong da mina nungai te hairaba matam da okay oh thank you haiba ko atugumba haiba atugumba du tawgadra natragana I will be crying impulsive haidi I am nungai te haiba se ai gi mai thong da uba ani maki mawong sida amadi tabi ai ko ai gi mai fam da man haidi say it is just an imagination. Okay, the girl in rock and plain, you can see the girl in rock and plain again an antithesis. Rock haiti khangi ko nung maraki leiba, it may be Deccan gumba ko hadi rocky places and plain hadi apaba mapam, this I need not tell it. In earth and heaven, in glade and bower, clear open space in forest to glade ko, and bower a shady place ko. Ani sige again it's an antithesis aduna sige overseeing. I will be overpowered by her presence as she played in all these areas. Mapam khuding mak sida mahak na sana ki ko aduna magi ningsing ba haiti mangda isang sang na thoklak pa gum na thokani even if she died. Atugumba matam tuta I say nungai taba yam nungai taba utpa yai natragana I may be happy that she was here haibako. Again you can find out the rhyme scheme by yourself. Like I have given explanation in the first stanza. I think you should be able to give you should be able to find out the rhyme scheme by yourself. Never forget that. And also the examples of the antithesis devices used by the poet. Now let's see what does the next stanza say. Okay, now I'll read the next stanza. She shall be sportive as the fawn that wild with glee across the lawn, or up the mountain springs, and hers shall be breathing balm, and hers the silence and the calm of mute insensate things. Now again the poet shifts his mood to the girl, Now he was talking about himself in the second stanza, now he shifts his mood to the child, to Lucy who's no more. Okay, she shall be mak later magadi kamaina tawgani haibatugi explanation ni ko. Third stanza se the piri se sportive haibati sportive again I cannot be. Okay, let me explain first. She shall be sportive as the fawn. Sportive haibase playful haibati dear amaga sang kanagumba. Deer is saji machana sanaba gi mawong matawda. It's a vocabulary, you can use it. Okay, sportive oiba yai ko ma haibati active oiba ko, playful yamna sanaba chen chongdana sanaba ko. As the fawn haidi a young deer ko, that while with glee across the lawn, haraubana, nungaibana ko, lawn da, chatlaga sanaba ko, or up the mountain springs. Example ni landscape mayam do mahak na wahay na ko, landscape scenery, phazaba mayam do ito aga ko, mana, piri ni ko. And hers shall be breathing balm, and hers the silence and the calm of mute insensate things. Nature ki phazaba mayam do mahak na angang do da yauram gataba gun sing do. Koina uraga prithvi sida koina uraga laiba nature gi phazaba mayam do aduga mahakna changdamnaraga mahakna saring sida ithoi ko haibati maste yamna phazaba saji ko masaji macha amagumduna chong chen chongduna sanadana harauba tayamba mayam do khoida utpiramba yai mountain gi springs id ising chaitharakpa khogi springs de koi khangi ko iput aduga adudagi thoglakpa. It is the beauty of the nature which the poet is celebrating. The poet celebrates the beauty of nature. You feel happy to read the poem because the poet talks about nature and you can see it up the mountain springs and breathing balm, guys. It's imagination. It's the play of words ko mountain gi phazaba mafam du gi silakpa nungsit tu na aingonda sor hon bai bani ko breathing balm the soothing oiba balming balming no bigs kumba tai then it's a balm again bigs ni hai banati ko. I just want you to understand, that's why I'm giving you the explanation. So shall be the breathing balm, and hers the silence and the calm of mute insensate things. Habati nature da makon thok taba ko mayam amazu leidana mountain da ko chatlaga atugumagi phazaba arangba amadi ayingba animaki gundo agandu da yaugani having. Again, see, the poet has used the antithesis device, and you can pick up the antithesis device from the stanza. Amukahan hairam giko stanza sigi meaning siko. She may be like, if she were alive, she would have been playing around like a young deer. She would have been spotted like a young deer and playing here and there. And she would be wild with happiness. She will be so happy, and I could have seen the happiness in her, and she would have learned the happiness from the mountain springs, and she would have enjoyed the beauty, of the nature. And she would have breathed the balm, soothing balm, and she would have learned from these animate things, and she would have also learned from the insensate, inanimate, thawayawdaba, ayingba, mute oiba, yamna makon sung thok traba tudagisu mahakna tamamaga nupi macha ama oiramba yai. Sine ko poet sina haidis ko. And the next stanza, let's go to the next stanza. The floating clouds their state shall lend to her, for her the willow bend, nor shall she fail to see, even in the motions of the storm, grace that shall mold the maiden's form by silent sympathy. Okay, so the beauty of the nature is quoted. Nature to give hazabado saying se iba matamda poachina laure, and he caught it mana to quote taure, and he's giving those qualities to the girl. Atugi quality meam do mahakna angang zigi phazaba mahakna haugalak pada mangonda inkhalak pada magi beauty meam do comparison to boywani atuga madugi comparison gi element meam do nang laubi ai ko mathang sigi stanza sida. I think this is the fourth stanza. The floating clouds yam phazai chingi lam manakta zu chataganda yengba matamda floating clouds ko lechin paiba mahaki state tuna, that state shall lend to her phazabado atugumna mahakta su phazaba pibiba yai mahaki haugalak liba mahaki mawong mataw du ko lechin paiba ge phazabadu mak phazaba lend to biba yai ko lending money, this, so give that id pibiba yai mahakta ko. To her the willow bend. Willow is again a tree. Bend over una no lukpa humility, humble ko oiba no lukpa duna willow hariba usina mahakta takpiramba ya. And nor she shall fail to, even in the motions of the storm. Phazaba sing mo hai gre amo antithesis iman season nari se storm hai dikhai go nong lai nung sit lakpada aduda yauriba asauba natragana adugi yamna animate oiba yamna manghokta storm du da yauriba quality du su mangonda lairamba yai aduga mase yamna graceful oiba yamna phazaba mold toba character is molded, no? So you are made that character haibadi aigi mawong matau aigi sam sajat bevhar aigi sajat aina chatliba mawong matau do chudagi nature gi ayingba amati asauba nature gi atumakso aingonda lairambe madden's form madden haiti chauraba ko by silent sympathy nature gi animakna silent as well as strong kind of forces sina takbi I'll not read line by line haipidi sida to conclude, this stanza, to what I meant in this stanza, to say so, I would like to say this, that the poet actually borrows all the beautiful elements of the nature, and he has given example of willow bend and the floating clouds and the motions of the storm. These all elements would have made the girl very beautiful. Because I have got the complaint that you don't understand if I stop in between. The stars of midnight shall be there to her, and she shall lean her ear in many a secret place where rivulets dance their wayward round, and beauty born of murmuring sound shall pass into her face. Maki mamai to the kari phazaba kari leramgani kari ka changdam nei mahakna kari sidings the poets in a kari hai mana. The stars of midnight. Stars is of course a beautiful element that we always borrow to write poem. Imagination ni maki ko yamna phazaraba nungshiraba thawan michak ki mangalgum ahingi thawan michakum ko mahakta yauramgani aduga mahakna kenogi secret places mayamda ayingba atappa ko yamna santi phangba yamna ingba lamdam singda chatlaga mahakna rivulets macha singbi makhon thoiba hadi it's all imagination ko adu phazabadu changdamna nabagi damakta mangna elements sing do lobani ko. So the beauty of those rivulet, the sounds made by the flow of water, that sounds, beauty born of murmuring sound, beauty adi yamna lang dedana tappa ingba makol yamna nature gi yamna phazaba makol phazaba mayam do aduna maki mai thong da mangal taramba yai haiba. It would have been this beauty of nature, this beautiful elements of nature would have come in her face, in Lucy's face. Imagination se chatli kumana Lucy gi imagination. So now he's talking about the physical appearance of the girl. Angang sina lesabi macha phagalakpa phawbada kari phazaba element mayam do chatkani haibetune ko. Mathangi stanza sida. And vital feelings of delight shall rear her from to a stately height. Her virgin bosom swell, though thoughts to Lucy I will give, while she and I together live here in this happy dell. Hingamagadi, angang se phasana hingamagadi ko nature sida how she would have by now she would have been a maiden. She would have been lesabi pungkak parambiya. Her virgin bosom swell. It's sina ko sigi example se sigi line sina hide se ko sigi line sina bosom, chest, the breast of women, when it grows, when you become a maiden, aduniko hairese. And vital feelings of delight shall rear her from a stately height. Stately height when she becomes mature. When she becomes mature, she would have attained all this delight, all this happiness, harau tayamna ma maturity panghamba yai aduga magna lesabi ko oirakpa matamda bosom maki mag lesabi oirakpagi mathon karak matamda ko Lucida sigi mayam se harauba mayam harau tayamba phazaba mayam se yauna aihaka aigi chanu pisiga aiga leiramgani here in this happy dell haibati kanos magi imagination leiramagadi maksi oiramani and happy dell valley amada khoini phazana igi chazigi phazaba mathot karakpasi mapa hangna uraga khoi leramgani and she would have beauty of all these beautiful elements from the nature. Again, you can see the antithesis examples from the poem, and also you can work upon the rhyme scheme. Again, I'm not repeating, and I request you to give me comment, and in the comment box kindly write it, so that I also believe that people are taking interest in learning. Thus nature spoke the old English ni. The work was done. How soon my Lucy's race was run. Race was run passive form the inigo. She died and left to me this heat, this calm and quiet scene, the memory of what has been and nevermore will be. An imagination aside, and then he said, okay, if she were alive, she would have been like this. But see, nature has spoken. First stanza, nature has spoken. Now the work was done. Now she died. She died. The work was done. Nature na logre, mungre, harbagumako. So I can see two feelings ko. Had nature na mungibagi nungaitaba na tragana. Adus utlikom nature na mahakna adugi kalakpa possessiveness amasum hakna yawi ko machanu pize pugre haibagi ko. Again, it's a beautiful thing, antithesis device. Am phazai sereng si pabade ko. That's nature spake, nature na pugre, the work was done. Angang de pura chakre. How soon my Lucy's race was run. Life is like a race. You run a race. But Lucy's race, mahakipun si do tele. Ko magi race do yamna teli. Sat launa loisan gare. How soon Lucy's race was done, she died and left to me sigre, and she gave me this heath. It is not something like, it's uncultivated land. Example do yam phazadro uncultivated land imagination. I mean, she's not grown up, it's an imagination. So it is uncultivated land, calm. Tappa ingbako, calm and quiet scene. Langdaba. It's the absence. Magi absence. Sigi bagi nungay tabako. Atu pongdok po oina sige words things chana na mahak na pirami. The memory of what has been and nevermore will be. Sige memory se. Sini oirami si mahaki ko. Mahak na layring ay na ay on the sige imagination si pirambangami. Adu sigumba memory se. Amukhan na layro. So it's a beautiful poem. The poet has used antithesis device, and the elements of natures are picked up by the poet to beautify the growth of Lucy had she been alive till her maiden age. Nasigi oinadi, I would like to conclude here. Tomorrow again I will discuss for like 20 minutes on the poem on reference to context and the elements. Okay, some elements or some notes karamaning dagiko lokhat charaga, and then I will conclude. Please don't forget to subscribe to Fajabi Image Consultancy. Kindly